Hey guys, welcome to the video. So this is a bit of a preview, a bit of a breakdown on a ZF run I did as a healing priest. Just gonna throw out some of my thinking during the moments. Maybe this will help somebody. I think there's a lot of new faces in hardcore about a great deal of experience, so I'm hoping this will help some sort of people. Um, yeah, just the mindset of healing, but then also the mindset that I think that you should have going into dungeons. Like obviously we're all very aware this is a hardcore server, so you know you only have one life. But in so many death clips and just the way that I see people play in general, they don't play as if it's their life literally on the line. And it could be it's just the small things that add up in case of an absolute oh shit moment, and that's the way that I approach dungeons. So what I mean by this is if you're an engineer, making sure that you bring advanced target dummies because they end up saving lives. Grenades, you want the best grenades possible. One, because like if you end up putting an absolute shit ton, you can move, you can stun. If your tank pulls too many, you can stun, which kind of breaks up the damage a little bit. So just like things like that to keep in mind. More importantly, like your mana potions. So many times, like I see people just using any willy-nilly mana potion, and you shouldn't really be skimping. Like I said, always think of a worst-case scenario, and you're going to be wishing that you had the most mana that you could possibly get. So what I ensure is that every time I go into a dungeon, and it's the same with my warrior, only with health potions, like I always have the best consumes in that sense to do a dungeon with. I have scrolls, I have food, I'm gonna start using oils too at times. Not that you have to use these things throughout the entire dungeon, you just use your common sense. But the good thing about oils is that you don't always have to apply it, but if you know some difficult situation is about to come up, you can always apply it during the combat or before it, you know? So just like things, just help yourself, help your group as much as possible. Because I swear to God, if everybody did that, there'd be a lot less deaths through dungeons. So, yeah, as we can see, we're only level 42. We're very under leveled. We have a 48 tank in the paladin. So, just knowing what you're playing with is useful. I'm aware that he doesn't have a taunt, but I'm very aware that he's got very good AoE threats. And he will be using a shield throughout the dungeon, so he's going to be pretty tanky. Mages, playing with, I always play with a mage. 1, because of water, 2, because of safety, 3, intellect. All things that kind of work nicely with us. Hunters I also like working with because again, utility, CC that they can bring, and they bring good damage too. And then rogue is just filler for this dungeon. So one thing you'll probably notice throughout the video is that it's very rare that I'm just standing doing nothing. And you don't want to be just doing nothing. Like, yes, you're a healer, your job is to heal, but if you can help out in other areas, if you're not needing to heal, then I think that you should. And it just comes with experience, like how much you can push maybe damage or one thing or something, but just make sure that you're always doing something. Because there's nothing more annoying just seeing someone stand there doing nothing. Yes, you know, you can wand and trigger the 5-second rule. So just make sure just make sure that you're always doing something. 5-second rule. So basically what I'm saying when I say this is after 5 seconds, your regen basically is your spirit. So whilst you're not casting, you're going to be regenerating a lot more mana than what you would be if you were casting. So as you can see already, he's pulled a... I mean, okay, so I didn't know these people. This is the first time I've done a dungeon like this in hardcore. Wasn't really what I was expecting, but he's pulled a hell of a load of mob. As you can see already, I'm just wanding. I'm just making sure that I'm doing something. Allowing his HP to drop so I can get a significant heal in. So this is like one of the most difficult periods of this dungeon that we end up doing, simply because he just pulled so many. And you can see that there's literally no breathing room for me to even try to kick in the 5-second rule. I literally just have to keep casting. As you can see, that I can see the pets down, but I'm not concerned about the pets. Obviously, I will throw it if I feel like I'm in a position to do that, but I've got to prioritize the players. This is something else that it's like an invisible thing. The tank is the priority. If the tank dies, typically everything else falls apart. So the priority for healing goes to the tank. If I am struggling for mana, most likely I'm going to ignore the DPS. I'm going to focus it on the tank. If things get to a point where I have to conserve my mana and I have to be very scarce with it, my mana is going to the tank. And that will, yeah, I mean, if that means a DPS dying because of it, then so be it. They probably did something to get that aggro anyway. The person's that is absolute priority is the tank. Obviously, I'm not saying ignore DPS, I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying if it comes down to it, you should be prioritizing the tank. So even though we pulled an absolutely massive amount, we had just about enough mana to sort of deal with that. So another thing that you may have noticed already, I'm using a lot of greater heals, I'm using a lot of heals. That's because at this point for me, those are the most efficient healing spells that I have for like single target healing. I see a lot of people just using flash heals, which at times is fine. It is perfectly fine. Sometimes you just need to get that fast cast heal out. I get that. But as a general rule, if you can safely do a big heal, a greater heal, then you should do so. Because it's more efficient long term than just casting flash heals. So for me currently, because I do have like 178 healing, my most efficient heal, this sounds crazy, my most efficient heal is actually rank 1 renew. So that's why you see 2 different renew ranks. I have a max 1 and I have a rank 1. And I think throughout this entire run, I don't even use the max rank renew one time. I use the base, the rank 1. I use that because I can use that to support my healing in an efficient way. I can use it as a top up, a very, very small top up on teammates. And because it's so efficient, I will use it. So mostly throughout this, for single target healing, I'm using rank 1 Great Renew, rank 1 Greater Heal, because that's the only rank that I have. And I'm using rank 2, again, as sort of like in between if I don't need such a big heal. They're both as efficient as I can get. And then throwing in renews, rank 1 renews, and then Prayer of Healing is also like your most it's on par with rank 1 renew in terms of efficiency, but obviously that requires your entire group to need healing. Also with my build, because I'm running Spirit Tap here, I did say to the group letting me get kills or trying to, and I'm trying to snipe them with Mind Blasts and such. It's just another little thing that you can do. It just allows you just to keep your mana higher. It speeds up the run in general. Obviously, it's not always safe to do this, but try to when you can. And because I'm such a low level in this dungeon, I'm going to get a lot of resists. But typically you're not going to be as low level as this, so you should try to do this. This is something else that I'm about to point out. I'm always constantly shielding the paladin before pulls because I can always drink to 100%. And also because he's doing such big pulls, it just means that I don't have to heal him as soon, which gives him a larger chance, a larger amount of time to actually get aggro and everything. So again, as you can see, I'm wanding in between. I'm not standing doing anything. Whilst I'm doing this, my mana is regenerating even stronger. Thing is, like when people lose HP, you don't instantly have to heal them. You want to try to like do things in bursts so you can get your periods where you don't cast. And like I said, when you're not casting, you can use your wand. I will say that though, my gear on this character is pretty good. It's pretty good. I got a few pure healing items, so I'm definitely not lacking that department. As you can see, just letting the tank take some damage, coming in with some big heals. Slightly smaller heal there. A little top up the renew, as you can see. I know it's a potsy little 28, but it's doing the job. No healing needing to be done. Wanding. Continuing that regen. Spirit Tap is going. The Paladin in this run does a really good job of keeping blessings up on the group. I don't even have to ask once, which is so nice. Super nice. So again, another pretty decent sized pool. Everyone's AoE in. And as you can see here, like I don't need to heal. I'm just going to support with a little bit of damage. Weave in some damage, weave in some wands. And try to snipe kills where it's safe to do so. As you can see, I'm using rank 1 renew just so there's a little topper. And again, getting a shield on the tank before his next pull so he's ready to go. And then I can just drink during downtime. So it just becomes like a little system. Obviously, it's going to be very different with our tanks, but with a paladin tank, it can shield him before pulls. So it's going to move things on a little bit here. It's pretty much a lot of the same stuff. So this is a little bit sketchy here because I'm such a low level. I'm really conscious about starting the boss soon. That's something that could potentially kill us. And my group doesn't actually listen to me here. And I'm like, I really don't want to get close because as you can see soon, they don't come back really far enough, and I'm forced into a shift position. Quick little dispel there, as you can see. Even priority on that. There's a lot of mobs. There's mobs here that stun. Mobs here that disease. It's just keeping right on top of that, because if you don't, things can get really messy. So you have to just be aware of like cleansing those stuns and such. So as you can see, right on the end of my greater heal there, throw off the dispel. I wasn't going to interrupt my heal just to dispel him. But there's not a great deal to it in terms of your rotation. You use your most efficient spells. And so at the moment what we're using typically shield at the very beginning. I don't really like to use the shield because it's not as efficient as my other spells, but sometimes you do need to use it, and I think it's perfect to use. I think it's perfect to use at the beginning of pause when you can go back to 100%. Kind of treat it like an emergency heal. I see it. See, I'm a little bit tentative here. Read that. And that's another reason why I like playing with the mage. I've got infinite amount of water, so I can be as aggressive with my mana as much as I want to be. So this is a boss that I think it's the most troublesome boss inside of the dungeon. And the way I think it needs to be approached is to kill the boss as soon as possible so the abs don't continuously spawn. Also, positioning wise, you don't want to clump up because he does a stun, and if it hits multiple people, that can be troublesome. You want to kill the totems so your tank isn't being rooted. It's just overall like a team effort. And obviously, again, making sure that you cleanse stuns on your party members. But going back onto rotation, you know, the spells that I'm using is Prayer of Healing for AoE, a rank 1 renew. I would use max rank if I needed extra healing. And then it's Greater Heal and Heal. And then Shield in emergency. Like, there's not really... you're not overwhelmed by amount of spells. And Flash Heals, again, I kind of use it like an emergency, or if I need to maintain pace with the amount of incoming damage. So that was a really clean fight for us. It does get a little bit sketchy at some point. I mean, here again, we're continuously to pull massive amounts of mobs. Kind of insane. But it's manageable. It's been very manageable for this group. And I think it's quite amazing how much trust the tank put into me. Like a low level 42 priest he's never played with before. And tanking that many mobs, that's pretty insane. So again, base rules. I'm not stood there doing nothing. I'm wanding. I'm regenning my mana. So like typically how I would play is if there's not a lot of healing to do and I'm good for mana, I will help deal damage, Holy Fires, Mind Blast, dots, whatever, to a point to where I can regen and that I have enough mana to heal if I need to. So just something I just remembered. So like inner focus makes your follow-up spell 3. So you can use this to continue a phase of the MP5 rule, the 5-second rule. So you can extend it. So say if you don't cast for a long time, you cast Inner Fire with whatever spell, it's going to allow you to extend that 5-second rule so you can end up regenerating more. So as you can see, we just continue to mass pull using my more efficient heals. See the mage is taking a little bit of damage, so I do go for the quick flash heal here. Again, wanding, not ever standing, doing nothing. It gets really interesting real soon. I'll find it forward actually. So we successfully defeat the troll boss, nothing dropped. Of interest. Let's go on a little bit more. I think this is the interesting hole. Not this one, I think it's the next one. Okay, I think it's coming up soon. It's probably why doing such massive pulls is probably not a good idea, but this was heart pounding, and this kind of puts everything together that I've said and suggested so far as to why you don't cut corners. Now I understand not everybody's putting like this, but sometimes you do get these mass pulls by accident. Our paladin has just mass pulled and our mage has disconnected. This is a bad spot. This is a very, very bad spot. As you can see, like I'm wanting to heal the pet. I am wanting to heal the pet, but each time I'm just like, this is not looking great. I need to save my mana and prioritize it to the tank. I get hit a few. I cast Fade. I don't really like to use Fade because it's a waste of mana. Obviously I have to get the mobs off me, but in using it, less mana to heal. But anyway, gets the mob off me. Maybe I think the shield was probably a mistake. I didn't need to use the shield. But we're in desperate trouble because most of these mobs are like 80+% health. I'm down to 46% mana. The tank is below 50%. This is a bit of an oh shit moment, but I'm just gonna continue. So what I think maybe this is a mistake on my part, and it's just something else that I can share with you now. I run the Recombobulator, but it does share a cooldown with your target dummy. This is why I think this was a mistake. I needed the mana, so I went and I decided to go for the mana instead of the target dummy, which I think probably was a mistake. So yeah, just bear in mind that those two share a cooldown together. We're really struggling now. They're 80% most of them still. It's not looking good. Again, all my healing at this point in my mind, all the healing is gonna go to the paladin. I am not gonna give it to the rogue. As you can see, like I know that everything that I have has to go into Paladin or we are going to die. So if it meant sacrificing the rogue for the group survival, you gotta make that decision. Also, I could have healed the pet at some point. I refrained from doing so because I need the mana. And again, I have to use my potion, my mana potion, which helps and saves us actually to a degree. But you can see how important it was to have the best mana potion, because if not, this situation could have gone skew with. And yes, I know what you're saying. Well, normally our groups don't pull like this. I completely understand that. And I don't recommend doing this at all. But sometimes accidents happen and you end up pulling half a dungeon. So for those situations, that's when these things pay off and they save you. So again, there's just literally no time, no room to breathe. I'm trying to relieve the tank of some damage. The mage thankfully comes back at the right time, because we were seriously struggling at this point. And the good thing is, like, now, because we had the Nova down, I could actually relieve the rogue as well from taking damage. And it ended up being okay. The Paladin Blessing fell off. If we're being really pedantic. But yeah. This is why we invest so much into the dungeons, in case of like really bad things happen. Nothing is more scary than a disconnect. But yeah, so that was that. And then this, I will just show you, because this is just freaking crazy how we do this. It's actually really funny because I did this, and then the night after, I did this completely different to this. This is just crazy. So again, absolutely huge AoE. What I really like about this Paladin, he's actually using the buff for the mage. If the mage dies, we're all going to die. So I totally understand the priority for him. Absolutely humongous pull. So yeah, that's pretty insane. So yeah, the rest of the dungeon is pretty standard in comparison to everything else that we've seen so far. But if there's some things to take away from this video, it would be invest into the run as if you're about to enter a worst case scenario. That's one thing. 2, prioritize your spells correctly. So use your more efficient ones. If you have like 300, 400 damage or whatever of each group member, try to use prayer of healing because it's very efficient. Aside from that, your single targets, greater heals in your heals, or if you can do it, then you should go for it. Try to kick in your 5-second rule as often as you can. And don't stand around doing nothing. Always try to be doing something, even if it's just wanding. And sometimes it makes sense just to wand. When you're regenerating mana, 5-second rule, wanding is great. So yeah, just make sure that you're always doing something. Because there's no reason just to stand there. just because you're a healer. You can offer your group something. So you can see greater heals. I actually put the rank 1 renew up again. I actually get a little bit of aggro here. One. Honestly, I felt like I should have used the inner focus with prayer of healing there. That's what I think I should have done. So I think that was a mistake on my part. Get a dummy down. Mana's getting a little bit low, so I'm just trying to reduce the damage from my team. Again, just trying to regen more mana. So this is a perfect time for prayer. Perfect. See how beautiful that looked? That's so satisfying when you top up all your teammates to full. It's really great. So yeah, there's not really much else I can say. If you have any questions about like anything, I will try to respond. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, I hope this is helpful to somebody. See you guys in the next one.